Robert Slett, your anchorman, and this is M2M3 News. In today's 5-minute segment, we'll be covering the effects of the Indonesian tsunami, as well as the relief efforts in North and South Carolina, and acts of international espionage. First, on the other side of the world, Indonesia. Friday of 2 weeks ago, September 28th, it came out of the blue. A tsunami with waves as tall as 18 feet were formed at the epicenter of the Indonesian archipelago to devastate the towns and cities that they touched. The cause was a 7.5 magnitude earthquake that hit the Indonesian central island of Sulawesi. The quake and the resulting tsunami destroyed more than 66,000 homes, leaving hundreds of thousands homeless and seeking immediate relief. As of last week, the bodies of more than 1,500 people had been recovered, but more are missing and expected to be lost. Organizations like Save the Children and the United Nations are seeking to assist the nearly 300,000 children who are in need of sanitation and food at this time. On a similar, domestic note, North and South Carolina are still in the news. Ongoing efforts to clean up after Hurricane Florence may take months to recover what has been damaged. Correspondent Robert White has the story. So thank you, Bob. I am here on the site at Wilmington, North Carolina, to be able to survey some of the current undergoing efforts to try to rehabilitate this area. 3 weeks ago, Hurricane Florence came through and ravaged this landscape and many other towns besides along the coast. And for some who are more inland, it might be easy to forget, but for those here in Wilmington, this is a daily ordeal to repair a lot of the damage. Although the waters have receded, you can take a look around and see there are still acres of fallen trees and a lot of territory that needs to be rebuilt since homes have been devastated and roofs have been damaged. Here on site, we're with a disaster relief effort through the Churches of Christ, and we have one person we're going to interview here. His name is John. So John is here from California. He's been able to participate for the last many days. How long have you been here?
I've been here since last Friday, so about 5 days now.
Okay, and what kind of efforts have gone on here in Wilmington that have worked to try to rebuild the area around here?
In the area that we're working, we mostly have down trees, like we're taking care of today, trees that are either partially or all the way down that we're removing for homeowners. And we've also been doing some demolition work. Yesterday we helped some people who had their home had been flooded. We helped them move all their belongings to a storage unit, followed them over there and helped them unload it. So we loaded it and unloaded it. In other parts of the area, like up in New Bern, there's a lot of flooding damage. So that involves pulling out drywall, pulling out insulation, pulling out furniture and carpet, so forth. So it takes a while. You have to get all that stuff out of there so you can dry everything out and then rebuild.
And I understand the relief efforts that you're a part of have also given out food and supplies to families as of yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yesterday at our base, which is at the Pine Valley Church of Christ here in Wilmington, we handed out to hundreds of people food, clothing, baby supplies, tools, water, anything that they might have needed to kind of get back on their feet. So it's kind of a multi-pronged effort. We try to do as much for everybody as we can.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming out.
So, from a man who's got the build of Christopher Reeve and the voice of Kevin Costner, we're glad to be here among the relief effort workers. Bob, I understand that these efforts are made mostly by volunteers. Where do these volunteers come from, Bob? So here we have people all the way from California, from Louisiana, from Michigan, from Tennessee, who have worked hard to be able to do what we see around us. Thank you, Bob. Russia is again in the news. Our correspondent Paul Etix has the story. And now for an update on Russia. Last week, 4 Russian agents were arrested in Great Britain. Their crime? Possession of surveillance equipment. One of the surprising facts about this case is that these are members of the GRU. The GRU is a Russian acronym that stands for the Russian Army's oldest and most experienced intelligence network. Even if you don't know it, you've heard of the GRU before. They are the cyber spies who have been accused of having hacked the 2016 election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. The GRU is also the agency that are linked to the poisoning of former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia back in March of this year. Recently, Yulia Skripal spoke publicly for the first time about the attempted assassination and how painful her and her father's recovery has been. The poisoning was investigated by a British government branch called the Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, or OPCW. It was outside this OPCW headquarters that 4 Russian men were recently arrested on charges of spying as they were trying to use surveillance equipment to overhear on Wi-Fi what the British government had discovered of the poisoning so far. Now, this is a surprise. Unlike usual counterintelligence operations, the British government has been very public about this attack, hoping to use the publicity to find more spies that might be involved. Another surprising fact is that these 4 Russian agents have been very sloppy. They were listening in the parking lot of the OPCW's building from their car. They had evidence on them that clearly linked them to the GRU. This latest act of espionage worsens an already tenuous relationship between Russia and the West. Thank you, Paul. That's all the news we have for our 5-minute segment on M2M3 News. I'm Anchorman Robert Sled, and this is Good Morning.